seconds again, but out goes Mike Grindell, who didn't really fire. He got 14 in the opening match, but also had a very important drop catch, you may remember. Andrew Hudson comes in. Otherwise, the lineup is unchanged, although Cullinan has been promoted ahead of Hansie Cronje. Anything significant in that in the two changes there, the one in the lineup and the one in personnel?
Well, I think one, because Hudson has got a very good record against India, and secondly, Cullinan is a very...
Little nick onto the pad here from Hudson's back, a little inside edge, hear the double sound. You can see that Prabhakar is going to trouble him in terms of movement in the air. It's early to tell if he's going to get any assistance from the pitch. He'd be looking forward to getting the left-hander on strike and angling the ball away to the slip area.
There's the first run. Beautiful play by Hudson. The outfield should be quick, and it is. And he starts with the boundary.
One of the big problems about moving the ball a long way in the air is you've got to get it in the right spot. If you drift it onto the pads like he has done there, Prabhakar, then Hudson, who's a good timer of the ball, if he finds the gap, very hard to stop it going for four. It's very dry here at Trust Bank Park. Not the smoothest of outfields, just walking across it this morning. It was a bit patchy in places.
Opportunity to welcome all our friends viewing this game around the world through Mnet in South Africa. Prime Sport, and the stopped at short cover. End of the first over, and it's four without loss. Venkatapathy Raju is the left-arm spinner for India. Oh, that's a beauty.
Well, one thing we can work out is it has got a little bit of pace at times, this pitch, because this is a quick delivery from Srinath, and it's just angled across the left-hander. It's a good delivery on any surface, so I think we'll find that now might be the best time to bat on it in terms of the pace. But once again, I'm like everybody else, just guessing a little bit. I'm assured by the locals it will play well, and they should know.
Worked away nicely by Kirsten. That's a good shot. It won't go all the way, but the batsman should be able to run three, and in the end they'll complete three quite comfortably. So 3 runs off the second over, bowled by Srinath, and it's 7 without loss. Sanjay Mandraker not playing in this game. WW appeal. Fairly keen about it too, the Indians. Doug Cowie wasn't though. 11 without loss at the end of the third over. Well, that's gone very fine. That'll go to the fence. Just wide of the keeper, Mongia, and it's leg byes. It's clipped the pad, and that's 4 leg byes.
Into the ground, there could be some mess up here. There's a couple of calls going from the batsman, deciding wisely to remain in the crease as it went quickly down to Kumble at mid-off. But we saw that down in Napier, with the pitch being very slow there, it was only Sidhu towards the end of his innings that got the body weight coming forward and being able to hit the ball into the offside. So the South Africans appear to be conscious of doing that here. Loud appeal for LBW. Doug Cowie, not interested though. Into the over, 27 without loss. It's at the slip and dropped at second slip. Jadeja at second slip, diving across. The extra slip's just been put in.
Well, this is not what you want to see as a bowler, and that's a fairly straightforward chance. It went pretty quick. It was a thick outside edge, and the Indians are spaced quite widely. He had to make a little bit of ground to his right. Only could get one hand to it.
Well, he dived at it there and punched it away. Although they're a reasonable distance apart, you should never have to dive. It slipped. Particularly when they've got 2 in there. If it was away to his left, that would be a different story. So with the right-hander Andrew Hudson on strike, it's just the 1 slip in the gully now.
And just really not getting his body weight right at the moment. Hudson, the only change to the South African team, and doesn't appear to be in good nick yet. Struggling with his timing. Andrew Hudson has his bat up in his stance. And he's just really not judging the pace of the wicket well at this stage. He's very good off his legs. Not really in full control at the moment. And it's hit in the air, but very strongly down the ground for 4. End of the over, 32 without loss. Smacking it away in front of square. Just dragged down short and hammering it through the onside. Poor delivery from Prabhakar and a no ball. This is a great shot. He's dropped it short. He just onto the front foot and he smashed it. Pull shot off the front foot. And in fact, in these types of conditions, when the wicket's pretty slow, a lot of New Zealand wickets are, your best option is just, in many cases, to get on that front foot because you still have time to deal with the short ball. Lose Hudson at 24. And I think we'll find that Andrew Hudson got a thick inside edge and the ball went onto his stumps. A little bit unlucky, but certainly that's the reply that India needed. At 47. Changing commentary now, it's John Morrison, and with him is Jeff Crow.
Thank you, Glenn. It's a race between Slip and the keeper down to third man. It's somewhat irrelevant in terms of whether it was a catch or not because it was a no ball. Let's have another look.
Yes, John, first slip's very wide there, and it gets through, as you say, as no balls. It doesn't really matter at all. However, it doesn't give much confidence to the slip fielder.
A bit of a battle for India this morning on a pitch that it's a strange-looking pitch. Very barren-looking affair that's cracked. Hard to appeal, but that was going away outside the off stump. So 49 for 1. Hudson gone for an entertaining 24. He's a man that's prepared to play his shots. In fact, I was a little surprised he didn't play in the first game, Jeff, but he seems to run in and out of form fairly regularly.
Well, he certainly does. He's the guy who, when he's obviously playing well, he's a very good striker of the ball. But he has his periods, as you say, where he actually does miss out quite a bit.
So onto the back foot, not timing it at all. So here's the Bank of New Zealand stump vision. And there's the dismissal. Poor old stump vision. He was right in the hot seat there. A fairly well-written sign, Jeff.
I think that's designed for Harish Bana, John, one of our men in India, visiting his family.
Yes, one of our One World of Sport technicians. Harry, as he's affectionately known. Probably a lot easier, isn't it? But there's the skipper, Azharuddin. He'd be a little bit concerned. He would have wanted to win the toss, I'm sure, on this pitch that'll probably wear a fair bit during the day.
Oh, inside edge, is it? And appeal, I think it may have been the pad. Some excitement. It slipped through between bat and pad.
No response from the umpire.
Yes, well, fair enough, the Indians going up here, but certainly it looked as though it was pad. What a muffled sound as it went through there. Although it did go back towards the wicketkeeper.
So Kirsten on 19, and Cullinan, the new man. He's faced 3 deliveries. He's yet to get off the mark. Beautiful day in Hamilton. Great spell around the country. shorter, holding back on the shot. I was a bit bemused, Jeff, about the theory here that the groundsman couldn't grow any grass because of the good weather. Usually we find it because of the bad weather, but I thought the Waikato was pretty good for growing grass, wasn't it?
Well, I thought so too. There we see the Bank of New Zealand Stunt Vision there, and it shows a very red sort of a soil. It's a red clay they use here in Hamilton.
It's a bit like Ayers Rock, isn't it? Driving, good solid shot, but straight out there to Prasad. No run, end of the over, 49 for 1. Moving across a little bit, that's a strange one. He gets an inside edge and it sort of balloons down to fine leg, very fine, and there's a carry-on down there as well. Sidhu playing his own little game, but in the end it's 4. It's an extraordinary series of events.
Well, I wouldn't say this is one of his better shots, but was pretty effective, getting 4 runs. The old French cut. Prasad, tall bowler, going the outside the off stump, and he gets a sort of a high inside edge, which goes well wide of the keeper. And Navjot Sidhu down there.
Yes.
What happened?
I'm not quite sure. Wasn't particularly gamely, was it? Pushing forward, better delivery. So only one change to South Africans. Hudson in. Rindle. Well, I suppose you'll toss and turn for years after dropping that catch in Wellington. It happened to anyone, of course, and not many people play a career without making a dreadful blue at some stage or another. But that will long be remembered. Not a bad ball to finish his first over. Prasad, 56 for 1.
15 overs bowled by the Indian side and 67 for 1. South Africa have started very well indeed. And now we're going to see Anil Kumble bowl again. Pulled away. That is a decisive shot by Cullinan. 4 runs.
Well, he should bowl well on this pitch, Kumble, because it's going to take some turn. It's quite dry. It's dusting up a wee bit already. And if he's going to bowl well on any surface, it should be here. But that's just far too short. That sits up, and Cullinan says, thank you very much. I'll take that one. There's no one out there in mid-wicket to protect that boundary. So he's got to get his lengths right. He's got men around the bat in catching positions, but he has to bowl the right lengths to bring them into play. Kumble.
Again, he's short. But there is a player sweeping out there now. So Cullinan starting to move into his stride now. He took 15 balls to get 3. And suddenly he's raced on to 13.
Just a little bit of spin there for Kumble, not that troublesome. Angling into the pads of the left-hander. But I would have expected that he would be the real threat. A leg spinner on this pitch, on the surface, would be the threat. How Shane Warne would bowl on it.
Might be a bit close. In the end, Cullinan gets home. But had the ball struck the stumps, it might have been a different story. We'll just check that.
Yes, the Indians look a little bit disappointed here, and we'll see why. Because he would have been good, well, half a yard short at least. So, boy, Mr. Jadeja was somewhat disappointed the throw wasn't on target. Half-hearted appeal there for pitching outside leg stump with the right arm over the wicket, bowling to the left-hander.
Yes, this ball pitches well outside leg stump. No chance of the LB. The appeal by the keeper to stop the single. Prasad not really generating any sort of pace at all. He has to be right on the mark. Kirsten out of his crease. Yes.
Looking for 2, running quickly for the first one, but not coming back. 86 for 1. Might have been sneaking down the leg side. So not given. End of the over, 87 for 1.
Well, I think this is close. In fact, I think he's lucky to be there. Well bowled. It was the top spinner. Just hurried through. Evan Watkins in his first game. So he's obviously erring in the batsman's favour.
We'll have another look at that, John. Did it hit him just outside off, or was it on off stump? Pitched outside off, coming into him. Looked as though it would knock him over, no question about that.
I think to watch, I think it pitched in line and would have hit in line.
So a single there, lots of weights, and then eventually getting through quite easily.
And there's the South African 100 in the 24th over, and that's a good effort. A sound platform for their team and the batsmen to come. Perhaps their best player, Hansie Cronje, will be in next.
Now it appeared, it looks as though once again, Cullinan on this occasion, just not lapping the line, but rather more the length.
Just outside the off stump, just getting his pad just outside. All going on with the arm.
Yeah.
And again picking up one, and again an Indian misfield. And they're through the two, and that's something that you really don't need in your first over.
Driving straight, he's got it through. This should go away for 4, and it will in fact. So good straight drive, but really, as you say, Jeff, the Indian bowling and fielding effort below par.
Inside haven't looked on the ball at all so far in this game.
Look as if they've expected, when they walked out, expected things to happen, expected to take wickets and run out and things, and expected, I think, that the South Africans would fall into their trap, whatever it was. Well, it hasn't worked out that way. South Africans really have been quite dominant and looked a lot keener about the whole match.
And there's 50 for Gary Kirsten. Well batted by the left-handed opening batsman, Gary Kirsten.
Probably not the prettiest innings Gary Kirsten's ever played, but effective nonetheless.
Really, it's got to the stage now, Ian, in this 34th over, 16 to go, where the South Africans can afford to play some big shots.
Well, they've got a strong order and they've got some very fine players to come. But as I said, Grant, it's one of those pitches I think you've got to be very careful that you don't leave new players coming in all the time, because I'm not sure you can get accustomed to it and start hitting straight away.
Watkins says no.
Well, the rules of cricket state that if you play a shot and you hit outside the line of the stumps, then you can't be given out, and I think we'll find that Cullinan's pad is outside the line of off stump when the ball strikes it. Not out. Good decision.
Looking for a second, and they'll get it too. Cullinan's very quick between wickets. And that is the 50 for Daryll Cullinan.
So there's that South African scoreboard. Cronje, Rhodes, Callaghan, good striker of the ball, Dave Callaghan. Dave Richardson, ever reliable, and the all-rounder Simons, and then the bowlers. They'll have their work later in the day.
Well, that's gone through, and that is another boundary. There haven't been many of them today, but that was from the result of a misfield.
And also a quicker delivery from this one from Tendulkar. He's pushed this one through a bit more, and Cullinan's able to hit it behind point because of the pace of the delivery. And the man there quite close is Azharuddin, and it's just gone almost straight through him. He's been surprised by the pace of the shot and the timing.
So they put together a 100 partnership. This will be a bit tight. No, it won't, because Azharuddin's misfielder, and they're going to get 2. So a very tight one has been turned into 2. As the 150 comes up for South Africa.
Oh, that's missed Azharuddin too. He may well have got a nasty bounce, and we'll see on replay whether that's the case. But he appeared to be behind the ball, and it went by.
Yes, well, that's not a great way at all to start the session. Wondered what he had for his drink, and he's gone straight through him. It's a loose one. He could have hauled out at mid-wickets and taken. Prasad almost getting beaten with the ball dropping between him and the boundary edge. But in the end, he took it well, and Cullinan goes for 65.
Well, this is heartbreak for the batsman. It's short, he gets onto it well, he hits it hard, and he hits it too flat, and a good catch by Prasad because that ball was going. And his face says it all. A fine innings by Daryll Cullinan.
167 now for 2. An expected high here today at 26. It must be round about that as Hansie Cronje replaces Cullinan. The captain is just the age of 25, so quite a bit younger than many in this party. A couple of hundreds there too. And we'll look at the dismissal again of Cullinan.
Well, this ball's short, and he really got onto it, but he hit it too flat. And that's a pretty good catch. If he'd missed it, the umpire would have had his hands up.
And with the new batsman in, it'll be interesting to see whether or not he's able to score quickly.
Here we see it again. Hit it very well. Just picked that one fielder out. Oh, no!
So success for Kumble. End of the over. 167 for 2. Well, there's a reshuffle now. We can see the skipper's coming in here to short mid-wicket. And by the umpire, man coming out by the umpire. In the air, the simplest of return catches. And so Cronje goes caught and bowled to Kumble. That certainly wouldn't have stung his hands. Closed the face on it, spooned it back for the simplest of catches.
Well, that's probably maybe an indication that this track is getting slower, with the ball getting old. And that just lobbed back. Cronje, concentration, and he threw his shot far too early.
174 for 3. Stumpy Rhodes just taking strike to Kumble. Getting tied up there too. And there are indications here with these new batsmen coming in that they're struggling to cope with the conditions. But the South Africans have got through to 174. And so even if they don't go on too nicely from here, they're still going to get a very good total under these conditions. And he's gone. Umpire Evan Watkin deciding in the affirmative for Kumble.
I think you'll find that Kumble just got this delivery through a little quicker and caught Rose in front, and Evan Watkin, his first decision at this level.
So 174 for 4 now, South Africa. Kumble right on target, and the sort of situation developed now that we anticipated would happen much earlier. It hasn't done so.
Yes, either the wickets deteriorated a little bit, or this little bit of edge and bounce come into Kumble's bowling. He just seems to be getting a little extra zip.
So the end of a very successful over for Kumble. 174 for 4. Let's have a look at the dismissal of Hansie Cronje.
He's watching the ball closely, but just threw the shot too early. May have held it back a bit, Kumble, early in Cronje's innings. And here's the LBW. Well, it could have been drifting down leg, but the umpire answers the bowler's question in the affirmative. So a big breakthrough for India. They're getting themselves back into the game and perhaps have a real chance here.
Could be a couple here. No, just a single. Chance for a
change in commentary. We have John Morrison and Jeff Crow.
Thank you, Glenn. Well, 175 for 4. The Indians at last getting a couple of wickets and back into the game a little. Still got some work to do. We're in the 41st over, and South Africa. New batsman in there. It'll make life a little more difficult, but they've still got Kirsten there on 72.
And South Africa have lost 3 wickets for 8 runs.
And the Indians really have livened up a little, haven't they? They've just seemed to go through the motions for so long, Jeff.
Yes, most of the innings they have is the progress by South Africa to date, and there's 3 wickets at the end there.
And Callaghan is off the mark with a 1 through the mid-wicket region.
Well, it's amazing what a couple of wickets do to the team, and as you say, John, the morale of the Indians has certainly been picked up right now, and now the pressure in a way is back on South Africa and on Gary Kirsten. He's got to keep the score ticking over for South Africa right now.
Tendulkar, his little right armers, a mixture of spin and seam off about 4 or 5 paces, and Azharuddin, the skipper, with the darks on.
And Smith made a point before about the one batsman, new batsman in. It's important the other batsman does not get out, so there's 2 new batsmen in.
Not timing it, Kirsten, and good piece of fielding in the end by Tendulkar to end the over at 176 for 4.
9 times.
Well, the first ball of the new over is swept very fine. In fact, it's almost going to go for 4. In fact, it does. Evan Watkin, the umpire, he signals 4 for Callaghan. Goes to 5 very quickly.
Very nice, delicate sweep from Dave Callaghan. Very fine indeed. And almost against the little spin that Kumble gets. Well, that's the high score there.
Yeah, that was a butchering, wasn't it? That we suffered very recently.
Certainly was in the opening innings in that particular match.
169 not out in the 50 over job. Just hurrying on that time. Kumble's an interesting mixture. He doesn't turn it much, but as we were saying earlier, Jeff, he hurries on a little, and with just a little bit of movement, does keep the batsman guessing.
He also gets good bounce.
He's quite a tall man. And look at that, hurrying on again, not timing it well, even though it was a defensive shot, not totally convincing.
It's amazing, John, getting back to that score that Cullinan actually made. Is why he's not actually opened the batting now. He scored 169 a one-day match, and here he is batting down the order.
Well, they seem to chop and change with their openers a bit. Again, looking to sweep, allowed a peel, but that was drifting down leg side. Yes, it is amazing, but Andrew Hudson's another man that gets on with the job, and he wasn't playing in Wellington. Mike Rindle, the new man, was playing. So it would seem they've got a few options, but as you say, that sort of performance, I think it's a while before he was shifted from opening. A lot of pressure being put on Evan Watkin. They're not happy, but he was quite a way down. Interesting to have another look at it.
Well, a decent shot from Kumble. That one there looking to me to hit him outside the off stump.
Yes, I don't think there's much doubt about that, hitting him outside the line of the off stump. He was playing a shot. Reasonable bounce there. Callaghan, he's on 12. 79, Kirsten at the other end. Tendulkar, this is his last over, his 10th. Off the back foot, that should be 4. It's split the 2 fieldsmen perfectly. So 4 runs to Callaghan. Well played.
200 up for South Africa, and this is a welcome boundary to Dave Callaghan.
Here's the Manhattan, and they're pretty consistent. But those 3 wickets very quickly maybe put a stop on a real launch in the last 10 overs. But they've still got plenty of wickets in hand, only 4 down. The end of the over, it's a 200 for 4. to him. He's gone, he's given out. Well, it was short, but it hurried through. He looked to pull it, and he struck on the pad. Even Watkins says you're out. It may be interesting to look at the line and height of this one.
Well, you say the height, John. This is the one to look for to see how high this bounces. The Kumble as it hurries on. It's from above the knee roll, but he was crouching, and even Watkins, the man who gives him out. Daryll Cullinan's on his way to 16. South Africa 201 for 5.
So David Richardson, the keeper for South Africa, a pretty useful batsman. He's come to the rescue on many occasions for the South African side. He comes out to the middle. He's got one ball to face in this over. And Kumble, a successful bowl. It'll be interesting to have a look at that dismissal. We'll do that during the next over. Again, Evan Watkin getting an action with the finger. A couple of LBs. And the cry of catch it, but the bat was nowhere near it. So that is the end of a successful over from Kumble, the leg spinner. Let's have a look at the line of that dismissal. And that didn't look too bad, certainly. The height, I think, is the factor.
Yes, well, certainly very straight, but whether the height, it was marginal, whether it hit the stumps or just the bail. Here we see more from ground level.
All right, that looks good. So all is well. Well done, Evan Watkin.
And he's wasted a couple of deliveries in this over already.
Well, good delivery from Srinath, right on target there. Down the bank of New Zealand replay. Hurrying through in between bat and pad. He stretches from Ajay Jadeja, the opening batsman. And soon he'll be opening with Tendulkar.
Well, he's mistimed that as well. Oh, could be a run out here. Have a look at the replay. Brilliant piece of fielding. And we'll see what happens.
Well, this is good fielding, you're right, Grant. He's pounced onto this, and the throw's come. It had to be a direct hit, and we'll see the end result. It's hit all right, and yes, he's about 6 inches short, so he'll be getting the red light any second, Gary Kirsten. Here it goes, and that's a big breakthrough for the Indians at this point, because Kirsten has done the damage. He's occupied the crease. He's been quite patient, but he's tried to get South Africa through to a good score. Now he's gone run out for 80, 201 for 6.
Eric Simons joining Dave Richardson at the crease after South Africa lost their opening batsman, Gary Kirsten, after a patient knock. And a brilliant piece of fielding by Sachin Tendulkar. So Eric Simons, have a look at this.
Yes, look at this pickup from Tendulkar. Kirsten looking for the one. It's a mistimed drive, really. Looked to hit it through the offside, and it's gone almost through mid-on, but Tendulkar quickly across from mid-wicket. It had to be a direct hit because the keeper wasn't in the picture, and in the end, neither was Gary Kirsten. Missed out by about 6 inches, so another vital breakthrough from Tendulkar's point of view, and of course for India. And that makes it just that much more difficult now for this relatively new pair. Richardson's only just been out there. Simon's about to face his first ball. It'll be hard for them to push on.
And Srinath asked the question. In the meantime, Simon's down the other end for a leg bye, is it?
Well, we now know why it was given not out in terms of LBW. It's nice and full and straight. But umpire Doug Cowie says there was a little bit of bottom edge on that. And we just have a look from stump vision, Bank of New Zealand stump vision. Look, trying to hit it through the offside and getting it round with the bottom hand. All of a sudden he realises he's in a spot of bother, and he really is in trouble.
Indian side of fourth playing very well here. Now Richardson on strike, facing just his second delivery. Wants the single. Let's have a look at the run out at normal speed, and you'll understand why Evan Watkin asked for the third umpire to adjudicate.
And he's got it over the fieldsman's head. Tendulkar's not happy. It sailed over his head for 4 runs.
So Raju's not happy with the end result of the meeting, because as soon as that ball went to the fence, he started to point at a few things. So that ball was right in the slot for hitting. point in time. Right up there, almost a half volley. And Richardson did cash in.
Well, that's wide. That's just as bad. They get another ball, they get a run.
Yes, it's a tidy start for Raju. That's a good call from umpire Evan Watkin. He's intentionally looked to bowl it down leg side, and he's been caught out.
Richardson advancing. Well, that could have been a bit dicey too, had the fieldsman picked it up. But there's been an epidemic today of poor fielding. The way Sachin Tendulkar bats today will have a big bearing on how this match finishes up. New Zealand got him cheaply the other day, but it doesn't always work out that way. Just a single this time. The misfield not so vital. They're always going to get the single.
Yes, the wicketkeeper here thinking you could be in business this over. Really charging at Raju. A little bit of turn and bounce and hello.
Well, he picked that up on the full and got one run. The skipper fielding by the square leg umpire.
Full length delivery and a sweep shot just for a single. Oh, and almost a nasty bounce too for Azharuddin.
Yes, I suppose to be fair, the outfield is a bit bumpy and beats some nasty bounces. There's a nice drive down to long on, looking for a second. And quickly in the air, that's good play by the Indian side this time. Sidhu down there, who's had his moments as well. So the last ball of the innings, 222 for 6. Bowling to Richardson. The LBW appeal, and they'll finish with a leg by. And so after 50 overs, 223 for 6, South Africa. After at one stage looking as though they might get somewhere near 250. So Azharuddin was able to put the screws on towards the end of the innings, and South Africa have finished their 50 overs at 223 for 6.
Prime Sports and Doordarshan presents the men who shape the face of modern cricket.
Yes? Good evening, sir. Good evening. I was just passing by. Hold on a bit. Nanda, isn't it? Yes, sir. Hi. Thank you, sir. Sit down, then. Nice house, sir. Oh. Just dropped in to say a happy anniversary, sir. Really? That's very nice of you, Nanda. Yeah. A present for you, sir? Oh, you shouldn't have. Ah. I say. Fortune gold. Well, well. I hope you like it, sir. Excuse me, someone at the door. Of course. Good evening, sir. I was just passing by. Come on in, Joshi. Joshi? Fortune Gold, the smoothest whiskey in the world.
Bajaj Sunny, the simple riding machine.
You're watching Prime Sports.
It's probably the greatest way to any time since the sundial.
point. He played it so well, but full face to the bat, middled it beautifully, and it raced away for 4.
Good example of the new ball, the extra pace and bounce, and played that very well. Hit it hard, right between the gap. Good shot.
Yes, what a super shot. Short and wide, and he middled it, and I thought it was going a little squarer, but he hit it so well. He hit it between point and cover. Short again. He's going to pick up 1 here at least. Third man prevents any more. So, good boundary for Tendulkar to get him underway. And the question is, I suppose, just how well the Indians can bat on the surface. They'd be well used to fairly barren-looking strips, wouldn't they, John?
Absolutely. If anyone can combat a ball that's turning and perhaps a little slow, it should be the Indian batsman. And here's their best, Tendulkar.
Was nearly a problem for the South Africans. Paxton Cox down there at wide third man, into the over, 7 for no wicket. He's certainly been a good performer, and here you are, John, another crack.
Well, he's gathering momentum. He's pretty upright in his delivery. Comes high over, and good follow through. And it's the first time I've seen him live as it was, but I think that he's a tremendous competitor for South Africa.
That may be 4. In fact, it is 4. So a good shot. Flipped away behind point. And Tendulkar picks up a boundary.
And that was a beautiful shot. This is why this young player is regarded as one of the best in the world. Didn't bounce much. It wasn't that short. It went like a rocket.
This is going to be a long over because the first 2 balls were wide, so not only do you give away a run when there's a wide, you have to bowl 2 more deliveries, so it's only 4 legal deliveries so far in the over. That's a better ball.
When you boil it down, this is one of the great joys of playing cricket. You have 2 world-class players confronting each other. Tendulkar, probably in the top 3 batsmen in the world, and de Villiers, who has made an outstanding contribution to South African cricket, who's very highly regarded, and he would really prize the wicket of Tendulkar.
Good straight delivery to end the over, 14 for no wicket.
Come on, cool.
And that's not a bad-looking shot. Times the team, it just keeps on going. That really was incredible. I thought it was a single to start with, but it was travelling so well and timed so well, raced away for 4. Into the over, 22 without loss.
So there we have some Sikhs watching here, a couple of turban gentlemen down there. And it'll be de Villiers. He's beginning his 5th over. Tendulkar strong back down the ground, at least a couple. Rose is pretty quick, so they won't come back to the 3rd, and they don't.
Okay, Bonnie.
Yes, on the bank of New Zealand replay. See how Tendulkar, just a little fellow, is able to stand up tall and hit straight back down the ground. And he timed it pretty well. Have a couple. A bit of a breeze here now at the park. Picked up, that'll make it a lot more pleasant out in the middle, I'm sure.
Hit it into the ground. It's going very quickly. It'll be a good save down there by Simcox. It is. So the upfield here just a little bit bobbly, and we saw that the Indians struggled with it.
Yes, another good shot from Tendulkar. Able to free the arms a bit and the big follow through. Just the bouncing there, you're right, Glenn. It's not the best, is it? Good effort from Simcox. Right down there in the deep.
Yes, we're fairly critical of the Indian fielding, and I think they didn't field well. half a field. I think he got an inside edge on it. But some of it was due, I think, to this outfield, and we've seen a couple of misfields even from the South Africans so far. So 34 balls for his 21, Tendulkar. Just starting to build it up a little now. But Jadeja just playing the anchor role. Single. So no slip in at all now. So no one in the slip cordon here. Just the gully. And of course the man at short mid-wicket. The two close-in catches. We're now on the 13th over. Still worth, I think, trying to nick someone out here. De Villiers bowling in particular. We saw Simcox warming up. It's unusual. It's not so unusual these days for the spinner to come on in the first 15 overs, but it does make it more difficult for them. Seeing the comparison there, the Indians a bit behind, but Simcox should get some turn here. The question of whether they'll leave him until the 15 overs have been bowled before he comes on. Slow one, good check shot there though from Jadeja. Could go all the way. Well, what beautiful time, just straight through the covers. End of the over, 39 without loss. There it goes, 4 runs. Itching to get after Eric Simons, and this time manages it. Well, he tried to make the first two, didn't he, Benny? Had a look at the first two. It was almost like strike one, strike two. This one's going to go. Because identical shot, really. He's just gone through with it a bit more and stood and delivered and watched and hadn't bothered to run. There was no need to. And so we see the slip, or the second slip coming out now into that short cover position. So really these two, not there so much for the catch, is really just to try and defend. Tendulkar, though, just has to watch it because he loves to whip it over the infield. And if the wickets are being a little slow, if he gets through his shot, he could fetch it around to that player way out deep at mid-wicket. And the South Africans know it. That's why that field is placed there. Here it goes. He's got it straight enough. Yes, he has. And it could be 6. It is. Great strike. That's about 70 metres down there or more. 6 to Tendulkar. Well, this has got the crowd here going. He wasn't really quite to this delivery, even though he did use his feet. He had to hit it very much on the up. Say the ball going in through its trajectory, and he dragged it across really. I think initially he was trying to hit it straighter, wasn't quite there, and was able to pull it wide over mid-wicket. And the keepers come up to prevent Tendulkar charging. So this is interesting cricket at the moment. End of the over, 49 for none. 10 runs from that last over from Simons. So the Indians now 1 short of the 50 and up to 3.5 runs per over. Edged it wide of the keeper. It's 4, but a streaky shot. Well, I think it was you about a minute and a half ago, Glenn said, I think I still have one in there and try and nick somebody out. Well, here was the chance. Here was the genuine nick. And Dave Richardson could only dive across into space because that's all it was there. No use rubbing your chin now. Had a chance to have him out. So the 50 comes up. 53 without loss. The beginning of the 15th over. And we'll look at the comparison. The Indians starting to sneak up towards it. 3 without loss, 60 for 1, and after 15, they were 67 for 1. The South Africans. But disappointing that the runs that they got in the end, because of the position they got themselves into, had a good score nevertheless under these conditions. Jadeja on strike. And looking at the comparison, dipping away for a while, the Indian one, and now starting to just lurch toward the South African worm. Long way to go yet.
Well, the flag flying high at the moment, 61 without loss. The Indian side, Hansie Cronje. And can't get it through. It's interesting, John, looking at the pads of both these Indian batsmen. They're those moulded types. And I noticed the ball really bouncing away off them. There we are there. They're not the normal type as we have become used to, but the pads always worry me with those things because the ball bounces so far off them.
The ball really zings off those pads. You feel in danger if you're fielding close to the wicket. Not the close fieldsman in the one-day competition. But the advantage from the batting point of view is that they're so light.
Unbelievably light, aren't they? There's some sort of moulded plastic type arrangement. Driving gone. Well, the frustration is set in here, and Tendulkar, trying to get on with the job, has driven in the air a straightforward catch. So the first Indian wicket has gone.
Yes, so Tendulkar getting a little bit tied down, a little bit frustrated, and that's exactly what the South Africans want. And look at the delight, and they will enjoy that wicket.
So 61 for 1 India. Well, Sidhu, the new man, jumping around out there, getting some exercise. Pretty warm, but he's on strike to Hansie Cronje. Very slowish delivery. Sort of digs it out in the end and gets it down to third man somehow or other, but he's underway, so he'll be pleased.
And here's the dismissal of Tendulkar, and almost frustrated. It's a very slow wicket. It's hard to hit down the ground. Cronje mixing his pace well. That's a very slow delivery, and just a straightforward catch to mid-on. You could almost see it coming.
Yes, the frustration was creeping in, wasn't it? And the run rate creeping up. Jadeja, he picks up a single. They're only coming in dribs and drabs, and Tendulkar's a man that likes to hit the boundaries a few times, and it just wasn't happening. But even he, I think, would be struggling with the pace of this pitch, which is very slow.
Cronje's done a great job for his side. Simcox has put the pressure on.
And it's turned away, down to a wide-ish fine leg position. Donald comes in.
I think you're right, John. The South Africans realised quicker than the Indians that perhaps they had to get their slower bowlers on, and that they did. And it certainly put the brakes on India.
Cronje. So there we are. At the end of the over, it's 64 for 1.
Absolutely sensational one-handed catch you'll see, the best you'll see anywhere. It went so high up from Sidhu, tried to loft it over mid-on, Mr. Bank of New Zealand replay, and it went straight up there in that blue sky. The man at mid-on wasn't that keen, and Dave Callaghan, look at that. Fantastic.
A sensational outfield catch by Dave Callaghan, and away goes Sidhu for 5. It's 73 for 2. Mohammad Azharuddin is the new player for India. He's gone to the non-strikers end after that absolutely wonderful catch by Dave Callaghan. And that is the end of the over from Hansie Cronje. He's got 2 wickets now. Callaghan, the hero of the moment, 73 for 2.
There it is. It's going to be out, caught. Yes, it is.
Kirsten in front of square, 2/3 of the way to the boundary. Jadeja just too frustrated, not able to contain himself, trying to hoik it away into the onside without success.
Well, he's dragged that from well outside off stump. He's really tried to hit the length, but wasn't quite there, so he had to hit up on it. And Simcox, he gets reward for what has been a very good spell of bowling. 76-3.
Vinod Kambli, the new man at the crease, the left-hander, the little dasher from Bombay. He'll need to dash today, 10 50s and 100. Batting middle order means he's had less chance of getting hundreds. And theoretically, with the left-hander against the off-spinner, the ball will be turning away from him, making it more difficult to score. But I don't think it can be any more difficult than the right-handers have found it against Simcox today. Full toss, just a single. Straight out to Kirsten, who took the catch previously. And let's look at that dismissal again.
He's dragged it from outside the off stump, Jadeja, and initially, I'm not sure he was trying to hit it in the air, and then all of a sudden he found he wasn't there, had hit up on it, and really he's just picked Kirsten out quite comfortably there. Took a good catch, well judged, but that was frustration more than anything else from Jadeja. 29 runs from 91 deliveries. And by getting out now, he's put his teammates under immense pressure, those to follow. He's used up enough time and enough balls to have made a greater contribution.
Yes, but it shows just how difficult it is to score under these conditions. And then, of course, one must give credit to Kirsten and to Cullinan for his 65. And also the Indians being so loose in their opening spell, bowling lots of no balls, little wayward. And South Africa getting rather too many. So Kambli off the mark. 78-3. That was a quicker one. And we'll just watch here whether you got a little nick on it. No. Umpire Watkins said that it was a bye. Touched nothing.
Yes, I thought I heard something as it went past the bat. Should have been my mistake.
I think the keeper gave it up because he thought it was going to hit off stump. As much as the fact that he thought the batsman would get something on it. Good takedown leg side, and that signal wide by the umpire, and Cronje was actually appealing. Now, what was he appealing for? A stumping or a possible catch down leg side?
Well, if he's dreaming, if he's appealing for LV, I think yes, the stumping. I think it's the old bluff as well. Give the umpire something else to think about. He'll forget about the wide.
Well, you've been an ex-keeper, Smithy. I suppose you know about these things. So he's wide it again.
Doubtful about this. This has deviated quite a bit. Look, it's pitched in line, and it's gone off the seam, or it's spun, whatever you like, and I think he's a bit hard done by there.
It's not the batsman's fault, though, Smithy. It's when you go by you.
Speaking as a batsman, Glenn, well done.
That's it. In the air, but not carrying. This could go for four. A good contest. No, it beats the field. An example there of Azharuddin, even with the ball not coming on, the risky player that he is, got enough on that ball to drive it to the boundary. They'll take a leg by instead, possibly two. No, they've no urgency there because of the shout. Tended to stop the batsmen in their tracks to wait for the decision, and only getting a leg by.
Sold from very, very wide out there, and it has straightened a little bit from Cronje. Keeper was heading off down leg side, deceived him as well. May have just straightened enough to beat off stump.
Look there. Taking down the leg side. It is a wide, but that's nothing to do with the keeper. He had to do his job, and he did it well.
Yes, no fuss, no bother.
Jonty Rose, he's been as good as ever, but he'll have to score some runs, Jonty Rose. He hasn't been batting too well, has he, John?
No, he's not getting the runs that he would like, but he sets the standard in the field for his teammates, and it's a very high standard. keeps everyone going, and he makes a statement for the fielding side standard.
Oh, swing and a miss, and just as we were saying, Dave Richardson's doing a good job. He misses a stumping. He was unsighted perhaps, but that doesn't make any difference. He's missed it. The replay will show, I'm sure.
Did he get a bottom edge? No, he didn't, and he's really made a meal of that.
And he takes that one, but it's after the horse is bolted. That's a wide, so a real mixed bag for Dave Richardson. Here we are from side on.
And look at his balance. He's leaning backwards. His balance, he swayed backwards, and really he didn't keep his position, his head position.
That was a bit of an iron gloves job, wasn't it? After all that praise, we probably gave him the kiss of death there. The back foot. That's not a bad-looking shot. And there really is a bit of work down there at third man. And they come back to 2. Oh, that's a messy piece of fielding from the South Africans.
Shock absorbers for your feet.
Marking out his run, took an absolutely sensational catch. Really looked to have misjudged it.
Yes, it's ironic, isn't it? You misjudge your catch in the first instance, and just a marvellous effort to pick it up. I mean, that will have to be one of the outstanding catches of the summer. But here he is, he's having a bowl. Again, a very similar type of bowling. But let's have a look at the catch. Sidhu, the striker.
And it had snow on it. A good deal of cloud. He misjudges it and makes the decision at the last minute that the only way he's going to get anywhere near it is with one hand. And who can blame him? What a marvellous catch.
Over the top he goes. This is not a bad shot. And it's 6 runs. So, at last, we see a big boundary. Kambli opening his shoulders, the left-hander, and straight down the ground for 6, and that's livened things up.
Well, this is a magnificent shot. Using his feet and hitting straight over mid-off, between mid-off.
He goes again, and he just beats the man in post, and he'll get a couple here. So, well, they nearly the two Indian batsmen nearly collided, and they had to detour to avoid each other, and we've got a third umpire job, and this is going to be very close indeed.
And the South Africans seem reasonably confident. I think the Indian batsman had some traffic problems.
Here's the throw. It's not a bad one. And as I say, the two batsmen were running down the same line. Oh, this is going to be interesting.
Oh, he's well out.
He's gone. Yes, no question about that. We'll just have to wait for the red light. He's on his way. Well, that's a disaster for India just when they didn't need it. Kambli getting things going. And the running really in that case was the fault. They nearly ran into each other, and they had to avoid doing that, and in so doing, the captain is out. 118 for 4.
12 overs left for the Indians, and there we have it. They need 101 runs. Callaghan is the bowler. Oh, big full toss. And sure enough, in fact, it's been described as a wide by the umpire.
Callaghan conceding 10 runs off the first over. That's easily a wide down the leg side. Trying to bowl a slower ball.
Slid away down towards a fine leg by Srinath, who's been promoted in the batting order. There he is, 2 runs off the 2 deliveries he's faced.
Kambli very fluent now, starting to play some very nice off drives. He balanced fluent left-handed batsman, and always intrigues me that they're advertising on their bats, Grant.
Goes again. Is it over the top? That's a big hit. That's the third time today that the Indian batsmen have put it over the fence. And Srinath really picked it up very well indeed.
Oh, super shot from Srinath. That sort of angling in. Simon Tillins angling into his leg stump and timing it and whipping it. And rather flat too it went. Over the fence for 6.
wicket for South Africa. Another nail in the coffin for India.
Yes, O'Donnell bowling short of a length sort of stuff, not in the block hole. And Kambli trying to whip it around the leg side, getting a top edge, hitting straight up in the air, and Richardson 2 or 3 places in. And takes a comfortable catch. Kambli on his way, he's out for 30. And India 148 for 5.
Manoj Prabhakar, the new batsman for India. Change in commentary now. Glenn Turner, Ian Smith.
And with Prabhakar coming in, when they have Kumble there, Kumble is a better striker of the ball than Prabhakar. And that looks like Indian skipper, Mohammad Azharuddin. The Indians wanting about 84 in the last 10 and losing that wicket, though, of Kambli has made an enormous difference. Just a single. Simcox, the fielder, down at third man. So with Kambli there and Srinath going, the Indians had an outside chance, but now heavily stacked in favour of the South Africans. This has gone fine enough. No, that's a good save. So de Villiers doing well, and it could be a run-out. De Villiers has done magnificently well to save the 4, but then has he run out Prabhakar.
Well, this is a sensational bit of fielding for a guy who's just bowling quick at the other end in hot conditions. Look at the throw. The sprawling dive. The throw's right on the mark. The bail's come off. We can't see from this angle. The keeper's blocked it. But I would suspect Mr. Prabhakar is about a yard short of his ground. I would say he's well gone myself. We'll have to wait and see what the third umpire says.
Well, you can see the bail. I imagine that's the bail, although he is obscured. You see, can the umpire give something that is obscure? But what's this bail appear there? Or is that the ball?
That's the ball. That's the bail. When the bail's gone, and says Prabhakar with him. Excellent work by de Villiers. Fantastic sprawling save. And the flat throw back into the wicketkeeper. So Prabhakar is gone. 159 for 6.
Prabhakar and the highest score there of 40 not out, but I can tell you we got 80 in a test match and a 44 and a 34 against the West Indies, so he's also no mug with the bat. Running quickly to look for 2, but there would have to be an error in the field. There isn't.
Let's have a little look at this now. Prabhakar was really... He looked for the 2, but I think he thought he was going to make it quite comfortably when the ball got away from de Villiers. He picked up, but look at the throw. Good flat throw. So it gets from A to B very quickly. B is the wicketkeeper. Off goes the bails. Off goes Mr. Prabhakar.
Hitting it safely. Trying to 4, 6, 6, 6. So Srinath has been bounced by Donald. And his reply to that is to hit him over mid-wicket for 6.
224 needed. So 44 runs from the next 4 overs. And funny de Villiers to bowl, but this man, Azharuddin, the Indian skipper, looking on anxiously at the moment. We're ready to go. Funny de Villiers. Pulling it away, not a bad-looking shot. A bit of work out there for the fieldsman, and it's 4 runs. So well played indeed, and the Indian supporters, the flags flying high.
Yes, well, that's just the start that the Indians needed. Last 4 overs. De Villiers guilty of dropping short, and that's something you can't do on the slow wicket, because it just sits up there waiting to be hit.
Well, that's demanding, isn't it? 44 runs, 23 balls. But it's not impossible. So the field really is spread. We've only got 4 inside the circle. Quite a difficult ground to defend this one. It's a big one. And a fast outfield, John.
Yes, the South Africans, though, will be confident of defending that target. But these 2 players have played pretty well.
driving straight down the ground. There is a man there, so they'll only get one. And Dave Callaghan coming in.
Srinath particularly has put bat to ball. Mongia's backed him up adequately. In this situation, you only really need one very bad over. But you wouldn't expect that an experience of de Villiers.
No, certainly. Well, that's a good ball, but it sneaked through. That may run away for four. Well, that's the best place to hit him if you can manage it. And it's a bit lucky, perhaps, an inside edge, a Yorker, but he squeezed it somehow or other down to very fine leg for four.
Well, it's a bit unjust for the bowler that's beautifully bowled and just a thick bottom edge to the unguarded fine leg boundary.
Oh, he's gone in the air, straight up in the air. He should be out, and he is out. Well, Eric Simons does the job. A pretty straightforward catch. Good bowling from Donald, but Srinath, a good hand. He really has turned things around. Not quite enough, perhaps, but 37 from 25 balls. He's on his way. Well, we just had 2 runs off the last ball of the over. Not a bad strike, and that's the end of the over. It's 198 for 7. Kumble. Oh, that must be out. Yes, it is. He walked across in front of his stumps looking to work it on the leg side. He was looking for some sort of opportunity to score. It didn't come. He's hit on the pad. Very full. Bank of New Zealand replay, and that's out. So 200 now for 8. So there we are. It's getting pretty hard now. Prasad, the new man. De Villiers, the bowler. Full toss, pushes it down. They may get 2. They should try for it. Yes, they're going to, and they'll get it comfortably. They need boundaries. So 20 runs from 6 balls. It's not possible, but it's verging on it with Alan Donald bowling, John.
Well, Donald's bowled very intelligently. He's cut his pace down. Buried it pretty well. He's a bowler that would definitely appreciate a nice green fast wicket, but faced with these conditions today on a slow wicket, he's used his change in pace well.
And that's not too bad. Right up in the block hole again. He'll settle for 1, Alan Donald. Yes, he certainly does like them fast and green, but not too much grass on that pitch, John. South Africa, they've played pretty well, and it looks like they're going to come through here.
Yes, I think one of the key factors was that Cronje got his slower bowlers on a little bit earlier than the Indians did. They realised that with the new ball particularly, they didn't want the ball coming off the wicket too quickly.
They're swing and a miss. They're going to run through for a bye, and they'll make it. So, again, I'm sure South Africa will settle for that, given the formula that we've just been looking at.
There's the equation.
3 sixes, John, will do the job, wouldn't it?
Who should we hire?
Yes. So it looks like South Africa have got it in the bag. If this is a good ball, they probably will. See what happens. And he pushes for 1. Pretty excited, yes, but it doesn't do them much good, I'm afraid, the Indians. And it looks like the game is gone for them. And a slightly satisfied smile on the South Africans. Oh, that's a wide one. He lunges himself at it, or launches himself at it, and gets 1 out into the deep. The kid's nearly come on, but it's too early. And 5 deliveries. So we're down to the last ball of this encounter, and obviously South Africa are going to win, and the field is spread. The kids are hovering, and we're waiting for Alan Donald to bowl. In he comes.
Look out for a wicket.
And pushing down, they're looking for a single. There could be a run-out. There is a run-out, but that's the end of the game. It's purely academic. So a very good win to South Africa. Convincing indeed. They got 223, and the Indians were a little disappointing in the field and with their bowling, and in the end, they didn't quite make it with the bat.
Jadeja and Tendulkar got off to a very bright start, 29 and 37 respectively. Got a little bit bogged down by some fine bowling. Sidhu going cheaply, got 73 in the other match, only 5 today. A terrible mix-up with the run-out for Azharuddin. Kambli came good towards the end, but Srinath really gave India a little bit of hope, but really it was maybe a little bit too late for the Indian side. In South Africa, well, Simcox had, for me, the best of the bowling, 1 wicket, conceding just 20.